You know, I was sitting down and playing Cinderace earlier because I really love this Cinderace build right now. I really love Pyro Ball Feint. I think it's just so fun, and the more finesse I get with Feint, the more moves I'm able to dodge, and it's just really great. I have a video of it on my channel. This is not about that, but it's kind of about that because it got me thinking about one-tricking. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw! So, as you can see this season, I've been playing more Cinderace, well, I guess the same amount of Cinderace as I have been playing Dodrio, and for a little while I was in love with Dodrio. I try to play pretty much every Pokemon inside of Pokemon Unite. I have lots of matches with lots of different Pokemon. If you look at my roster, you'll see that I don't have a gold badge on any specific Pokemon. The highest I have is blue, but I have tons of green badges on just about every Pokemon in the game, and I just continue to play a Pokemon until I get very, very familiar with that. I love all of the different play styles inside of Unite, and I think they do amazing little things with each Pokemon, making them fun and interesting to play. Some, for me, of course, more than others, but I do think, even though this is my play style, as someone who gets to play this game so unbelievably much, that's a weird looking Umbreon, so unbelievably much, I do think there is a ton of value in one-tricking. So let's talk about it. One-tricking is essentially playing one Pokemon. It's playing one Pokemon and being so incredibly good at that Pokemon, at least you would hope, okay? You could screw this up, but at least you would hope you get so incredibly good at that Pokemon that you are one of the best this Pokemon in the world. I am a Zeraora main. I am a Talonflame main. I am the best Cinderace out there. I am the best Blissey out there. And there are actually some good examples of that inside of the community and some of the advantages it provides. First of all, for a new player, a game like Pokemon Unite, a MOBA, is pretty complex. When I first started learning MOBAs, it came somewhat naturally to me. The word came somewhat naturally to me. And I think the reason for that is because I came from real-time strategy games, which is where MOBAs came from. So I kind of already had the controls, set up for that, even though I still had to learn how all of the macro gameplay worked. The macro gameplay being, what objectives do you go to? When do things happen? How do you gain experience best? How do you gain gold best in the case of League of Legends and stuff like that? So I think there's a lot of that stuff to learn, especially if Pokemon Unite is your first MOBA. Spending time learning that is very, very valuable. And that's harder to learn if every other match you are bouncing between a new Pokemon, a new playstyle, a new role that needs to do new things, and now you need to figure out the jungle, and no, now you're playing top path. No, actually, you got kind of good at bottom path, but now you have to play top path with a Pokemon that you haven't played before. This is your first Goodra game. You're in the top path. Oh no, you're Mr. Mime. You've never played it before, and now you're in the central area, a role that you don't normally play, in a position you don't normally go to. All of it can be kind of overwhelming, all while you need to be learning the actual big picture ideas inside of a match of Pokemon Unite, and instead you're working on all of these small things that are actually slowing you down. So here's where the value of one-tricking comes in. You find a couple Pokemon whose play style you like, and you decide that you're gonna play 1, 2, maybe 3, maybe at the most Pokemon. Basically, you have yourself a main Pokemon. I'm gonna be a Venusaur main. I'm a Venusaur one-trick. And then if you don't get Venusaur, you go Slowbro or something like that. And then if finally you don't have Slowbro, you have one other Pokemon on your roster that you kind of flex into. Okay, if I don't get Venusaur and I don't get Slowbro, I play Umbreon. I just unlocked that and I like that Pokemon. And then you stick mainly with those three, putting as much emphasis as you can into Venusaur while you learn everything else that's going on in the game. Because once you have gotten past understanding the basics of your Pokemon, in fact, not only the basics, but sort of even more than the basics, the intermediates, the advanced, the point is, once you kind of understand how your Pokemon works, you know how your last hitting works, you know how your leveling works, you know which move to use inside of a battle, you know how your combos work, you've gotten very good at your Petal Dance Giga Drain Venusaur setup or your Solar Beam Venusaur, you know exactly how to line up your shots and how to use your Unite move. Once you have all of that, you can actually spend more time not looking directly down at your controller and sort of looking up at everything else that's going inside of a match of Pokemon Unite. A lot of new players don't pan their camera around. They don't use the L button, move their camera on Switch using your other finger up near the top of the screen on mobile to pan your camera. A lot of new players don't do this. They don't spend time looking at what's happening in a match. They don't look at their mini map at all. They don't see what's going on up there and notice, oh wow, there are 4 enemies top, which means we can be really aggressive right now bottom. We can take this objective pretty easily, etc., etc. They also don't learn the timings of all the objectives and things like that. They don't learn sort of a good pattern of rotation. I think when you first start, of course, you know, have some fun, play a lot of different Pokemon, and by the way, in general, have some fun. This is just a piece of advice. Do what you like, have fun with it. It is a game. But if you start to not have to worry about some of the basics of your Pokemon anymore, you will get to a point where you can actually do some pretty cool stuff inside the match that isn't about this Pokemon specifically. And there are members of the community that I think absolutely got known just for being so incredibly proficient on a Pokemon. I think of people like Scolded and his Delphox play, Steve My Cat and Zarina, Cookie Dough and Blissey. These players got so incredibly good on these Pokemon, like some of the best players in the world on these Pokemon, that they are known inside the community. And now, of course, and always, they've always played more than one Pokemon, but they just got so incredibly good at it, so proficient at it, that they got known and spent other time getting really, really good at other aspects of the game. And I think there's a lot of value to that. A few early Pokemon that I would recommend that I mentioned in the video, I think Venusaur is a great option for newer players. I think Slowbro is amazing. Pikachu, I think, is a great one for newer players. And if you're looking for sort of a supporter Pokemon, I really love Eldegoss for newer players. I think it's an awesome, awesome choice. But there are a lot of good choices inside of Pokemon Unite. But my point is, when there are 53, 4, I guess if you count the Scissor Scyther split, 55 if you count the Urshifu split Pokemon inside the game right now, if you just keep moving around to a ton of different things, you will lose the ability to notice some of the other things in the games that are extremely important. Now, once you start to get really honed in on Pokemon and you start to get really proficient on what's going on inside of a match of Pokemon Unite, then I think you absolutely should spread your wings a little bit and you should try some of these other Pokemon. A big reason for that is you will know what your opponents are doing if you have played that Pokemon before. I know what every single Pokemon in the game is up to when I see them. I know how their Unite move works. I know what it means when a Blastoise is walking like that. It means a Unite move is coming, because here comes that Blastoise in this interesting fashion. I also know how long a timer is. When I see a Talonflame miss a fly, I think, oh, they're in a lot of trouble right now and we can get a big KO. That is a huge advantage of playing a bunch of Pokemon. But at first, I actually think the value of one-tricking is pretty high. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is just something that I've kind of been thinking about lately, especially when a new Pokemon comes out and I'm just all in on Umbreon, or there's a build I love and I'm all in on Cinderace. So that's just something that's been in my head a lot. But I actually think there is a lot of value for a lot of players. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see y'all soon.